Okay, so in this today's lecture, I try to cover mostly the concepts related to requirement analysis and specification. Okay, so far we have discussed in the previous lecture. So I mean we have already discussed about rapid application development model, and then we have discussed about the agile development models, right? So one is extreme programming and the other one is Scrum, and there are various others like Etern and all. So that you need to study yourself if you are interested to learn more of these agile models. Okay. So now, so basically the main so objective of this today's lecture is to yes, Mohit, you want to ask something? So there is a disturbance. I think students you try to mute yourself. Mohit, yes. So I have muted Mohit, so it is creating disturbance, right? So now, so the objective of this today's topic, so is to introduce certain concepts of user and system requirements. We'll talk about the user requirement and system requirement, and then we see the classification of these requirements like functional and non-functional, and then we'll talk about how these system requirements are organized in a requirement document. It is indirectly, we are saying the software requirement specification document, right? We'll talk about that also. So now, so what is a requirement engineering? So through this process, we are going to establish what are the services that are required from a system or the software that we are going to develop, as well as what are the constraints under which this software is going to operate or going to run, or it is developed and it is developed, right? So those sort of things are carried out during a requirement engineering. I mean, what services from a system or the software, and what are the certain constraints while the software is the software being run or it is developed during development, right? So with this, the requirement themselves are the description of the system services and constraints. So I mean, whatever the system services and constraints we have talked so far, right? So they are described. So their descriptions are actually the requirements. Okay. So that is, these descriptions or the requirements are actually generated during this requirement engineering process. Okay, so through this requirement engineering process, we able to establish the requirements. Okay, now a requirement is a capability or a condition required from the system. Okay, so that means whenever we say it's a requirement, so usually it is a capability of a system. Okay, or you can say that this capability must be there. So I mean, this is this sort of a condition. Okay. What is involved in requirement analysis and specification? So here, so we try to determine what are the expectations of a client or a user from the system. That, I mean, we actually have to gather and then analyze so as to finalize, right? What are the expectations of a client from the system? And then once these requirements are gathered and analyzed, okay, and now if they are very clear, these the requirements are very clear to the client, okay, then those requirements will be specified, okay. So those requirements will be specified in a document, okay, and this document will be used by the development team members because they are the one who is going to develop the software, right? So ultimately, so what you are trying to do, you try to gather the requirements from the client and then we analyze the requirement so as to specify the client, so as to specify the requirements in a way it doesn't leave any misinterpretation, or it should not leave multiple interpretation. I mean, the requirements should be very complete. So that means the requirements, some of these requirements should not be missed out. Okay. So these sort of things. So that means you going to specify the requirement very precisely and accurately. Okay. That is in the form of a document. So what is a requirement actually? A requirement is a high level abstract statement of a service or system constraint, as I told you. So services and constraints, right? So it can be a high level abstract statement or it can be a detailed mathematical functional specification. That means that the same statement can be specified using some mathematical approach. Okay, so we'll talk about the formal methods and all. So there is a method, formal methods by which we can specify a requirement, right? We'll talk about that. So usually it's a high level abstract statement to the specification can be specified using some mathematical approach, okay, or mathematical methods, right? So this is inevitable as requirements may serve a dual function, right? So these requirements, whatever the requirements are established here through this requirement engineering process, so they serve two different purposes. So one is that it will be used for the bidding a contract, okay. That means the requirements the requirements are developed so as to use for the bidding purpose, right? So so contractor is going to bid against these requirements, right? So that is the reason why there should not have any different interpretations, okay. So it should have only a single interpretation. That means the document should be very precise and accurate, okay. Because you see, whenever the a company, right, let's say we as a client, we want some software for our institute, right, let's say. So what we try to do, we place all the requirements and then those requirements will be given in the form of a tender. Okay, now the tender is open, so there are different developers. Maybe there is a Infosys, maybe there is a Wipro, maybe there is TCS. So there are various development companies. So they will be going to bid for that particular contract. Okay, so and we will see the one who will go with a lower price bid, and also the company will be given this contract, right? So this is actually, so that means this is used for bidding a contract also, as well as it is it is a basis for the contract itself also, right? That means, so once the bidding is over and a company won that particular bid, right? So now what will happen? Now what are those requirements that should be developed, or that should be provided through the software will also be written in the document. I mean, this document will also be used for the contract obligations, right? So that means these are the requirements, these sort of the requirements the company should provide us, okay. So for that purpose, right? So it is also basis for the contract as well as. contract between the client as and the development company. So for understanding and specify requirements, so understanding the requirements, if let's say it's a very toy problem or it is a very small problem, in that case, what will happen? So understanding is very easy. The problem can be understood very easily, and also the requirements can be understood very easily, and they can be specified very easily. Okay. But if it is a industry standard problem, that means it's a very large problem which requires intervention of in a development company, right? So in that case, the problem is it's a very hardest task. So try to establish that it's a problem. So it's a most problematic, and sometimes it leaves many errors. So because so requirement analysis specification, this is one of the phase. So if any error is made here at this point of time, so accordingly the error is reflected in the design also. Accordingly the error will be reflected during testing, right? Accordingly the error will be reflected in during coding, right? So this is the phase where you need to give utmost care, right? So what are the various tasks of this requirement specification? So usually, so we try to understand, the user should understand their needs, okay, what they actually want from the system, right? And that is what exactly. So user needs will be given as an input, okay, you can think of, and so the output will be a very precise statement of what the software will do. What the software different services will provide to the customer. Okay, so this is a very precise statement. So that is what requirement specification is all about, right? So you have gathered the requirement, okay, and then you specify the requirement. So it will say that what the software is going to provide, or what services are actually the software is going to give to the customer. Okay, so that's a precise statement. Okay, so that's a SRS. Okay, so usually, so requirements for products. Okay, so let's say in case of any hardware products or any product in the market, maybe a generic product, okay, which can be used by various customers. Okay, so in those sort of things, scenarios, who is going to give these requirements? So let's say you can think of toothpaste. Okay, so if a company wants to develop toothpaste, so usually who gives these requirements? Can anyone tell me who is going to give the requirements? If a company is planning to develop a product called toothpaste, so in that case, who is going to give the requirements?
So the customer.
Okay, so yes, but in that case it is not known who is the customer. Okay, because it's a very generic product, right? So it is meant for everybody, right? Yeah. So now if let's say something you are developing specifically for a single user or a customer, so in that case you can go and ask the user. Okay. So let's say you going to develop an actress.
Marketing person, sir.
Yes.
Marketing person.
Yes. So sometimes you can think of, so you can take, the salespersons or the marketing people who are going to market that, because they can also specify. So in case of general products, but if it is a very product for one or two customer, right? So in that case, we will be going and asking the end users. Okay. So there are certain.
The quality control manager can also say.
Yes, they also say, but actually, so this is a very initial phase, right? So it's a requirement gathering and analysis, right? So here only analyst is there. So only business analyst. So he is the only person involved here. So we actually the quality people, I mean those who are working at the level of quality assurance, testing, so they are not yet in the picture. Okay, it's a very beginning of the phase, right? So usually we do not take here what I try to say, such a very high level requirements are gathered. So these requirements can be gathered usually from the salesperson here. And if it is, if it is not a generic product, so let's say you can think of like this. Okay, so you going to develop a software for NIT Rourkela, like an Netris. Okay, the software you are using. Okay, so in that case, what you will do? So the business analyst from the development company will come to the domain. Okay, so you interview all the users, I mean, who are going to use that particular product, maybe the faculty, teacher, faculty, students, accountants, okay, director, deans. Now after having certain discussions, so you will be actually finalizing, gathering the requirements, right? So but in case of generic product, usually the salespersons, they are going to sell this particular product, so they may give certain requirements, right? So this way you can understand, it's a basic understanding. Okay, so now these requirements can be of two types. Okay, one is user requirement, and the other, the other one is system requirements. Okay, so what is a user requirement? So statements in natural language plus diagrams of the system services. Okay, so whatever the system services you are expecting, okay, the user is expecting from the system, or any operational constraints, right? So the software will be
Not audible, sir.
operated. Okay, provides not audible.
Yes, sir.
Am
Now
I
it's
am
audible.
I not audible to others?
Now it's audible.
So
Okay.
for some time you were muted, but now you're
Okay.
audible.
No, I have not done. It is just because of the network bandwidth. Okay, so network. So sometimes this bandwidth fluctuates. Okay, so as a result, no, sometimes my voice is not getting properly streamed. Okay. Anyway, so there is a recording going on. So usually, so the requirement is written in simple language because this user requirement is actually for the customer. Okay, so because customer, if you use any technical jordans, okay, if you use any technical words here in this document, probably user will not understand because they do not have technical knowledge, right? So you should be writing these requirements in such a way that so they should understand, they should clearly understand, they should easily comprehend the document, right? So it is specially meant for the customers. Okay, so now this is what the requirements you gathered from the customer. Okay, and then you write in very simple language. Okay, maybe you need some sort of diagrams, you use some diagrams through which they can easily understand. Okay, so that is what. And now the system requirement is something, it's a very structured document. That means you will have certain number of sections, subsections, organization. So that means the document is well organized. Okay, and it actually leaves out all the detailed descriptions. Okay, so there it's a natural language, simple statements, okay, of the services, but here we provide the detailed description of those system functions, services, and operational constraints. So here it is a detailed way we are describing about the services, functions, and operational constraints. Okay, defines what should be implemented, so maybe part of a contract between client and contractor. So that means, so because the so hereafter, so these requirements will be actually developed, okay, or will be actually implemented, right? So this is and this also be part of contract. That means these are the actually functionalities or the services actually so the developer is going to provide, okay, to the client. So you can think of, right? Now let's say you will take an example through which you can easily understand how the user requirement definition and how this system requirement specification. Okay, so as I told you, it's a natural statement in a natural language. Okay, so now let's say like this: here you have a software. Okay. So the software must provide a means of accessing external files created by other tools. Let's say certain other tools, they create some files. Okay, maybe you can think in this way now, as of now. Maybe there is a Acrobat Reader through which you can create a PDF file. Microsoft Office through which you create a doc file. Maybe Word, word processing software or simple word, okay, through which you can generate a txt file or notepad, you can say, okay, through a notepad, right? Now they are the different tools, right? So Acrobat Reader, Microsoft Office, and you can say the notepad, they are the different tools, and now they can generate certain files, okay, types, right? So what here from the user's perspective, what is the requirement here? The software must provide a means of accessing those files created by other tools. Okay, so that means you have a software, you are going to, you are going to develop a software for the user, and through that software you should be able to access some files, okay, external files created by other tools. This is what the statement. Now how this sort of requirement can be specified as part of system requirement specification, as I told you. So the more detailed description of those services are provided in part of system requirements, right? So the user should have a facility to define the type of external file. That means here you will be saying, so user can have a facility, he can decide type of the file, external file he wants to open. Okay, let's say he wants to open a PDF file. So there should be an option. The option should come whether you want to open a PDF file, or you want to open a doc file, or you want to open a txt file. Now the user should choose that particular option, right? So it is more detailed specification. Each external file should have an associated tool which can be applied to view the file, right? When you have chosen the type of the file, automatically a associated tool, let's say you have chosen a PDF, so automatically when you are going to open that particular file, so automatically it should call the PDF Acrobat Reader, and by calling Acrobat Reader, it should open the file in such a way that so you can view that particular file using PDF Acrobat Reader, right? So this way you can think of. Okay, each external file must be represented as an icon on the desktop, right? Now, so if it is a PDF, so it should come, the file should get some sort of icon, right? If it is a doc, so the file should get some icon, different icon. So you can understand, right? So now when the user selects an icon representing an external file, the effect must be apply the predefined tool and open the file. So that is what I told you. Let's say through that particular software, you are going to open a PDF file. So when you choose that particular icon, so automatically it should call the Acrobat Reader, and then it should open the file in that particular format. Okay, so now you see this is a detailed description of the specification, but the user requirement portion is not that much detailed. Okay, because it is only meant for the user. So user understand this only. Okay, and these are the things user may not be able to understand, but these requirements should be provided in this way, fashion. Okay, because it is more close to the development side, right? This portion is very close to the development side, because the ultimately the developer is going to develop these requirements, right? So these are the requirements part of a contract. Okay, so I mean, these sort of facilities or the services, uh, the software should provide to the user. Okay. Now these usually we create these requirements documents, right? You have these requirements, right? So now who is going to use these documents? Okay, who are the audience? Who are the people going to use this? Okay, so I mean the client managers who if from the client organization side, if at all there is a manager, right? So he is also going through these user requirements. System end users, because they are the ones who is going to use that particular software, so they will be also. And the client engineers also, certain client engineers who are involved in this project, right, from the client side, not from the development side. Okay, and contract managers as well as system architects. Okay, these are the various people. Okay. So these are the various people who will be going through these requirement documents, user requirements. Similarly, now I told you that there is a system requirements specification. Now this particular sort of requirements are very interesting to end users as well as, so end user will also go through it. Okay, client engineers, system architects, but here the new one introduced apart from the previous ones is the software developers, because the software developers are actually going to develop the software based upon these set of requirements, because because they are actually going to develop the software, right? So they need to know these detailed requirements, right? So this is what, so it is not written by the user, so it is not written by the user, nor it is for the user. Okay, so it is only written for translating these requirements into a more precise specification, right? So whatever the user requirements we have initially, that is the statement you have seen, so that is exactly converted into a more precise specification. Okay, more accurate specification, and that is what part of system requirements. So this translation is often done by a system architect or a business analyst. So as I told you, so here at this particular phase, so system architect or the business analyst are involved. So right, so it is very closer to the software design specification, as I told you, right? So because this is also because you specifying very in a detailed way, that means it is very much closer to the design specification also. We'll talk about the specific in a software design specification later point of time. Okay, but this is also very clear, very closer to that. Now, software design specification, that software design specification, the other document you can think of, right? So the specification is only, meant for the design purpose, right? So here, who are the persons going to use this particular document, software design specification document? Usually the client engineers, because they are also involved throughout the project, and the business analyst and the software developers. Okay, so here end user is not going to come, because so end user will not understand all the technical aspects, right? So design, when you are going through a design, that means it's all the technical aspects, right? So I mean, what sort of data structure, what sort of the modules you are going to develop, what is the data structure required, what is the algorithms are used, what sort of programming language will be used, right? And what sort of interfaces are really required, right? So all sort of design will be there, so user will not understand those things. That's the reason why, so this sort of specification is not meant for the user. Okay, this is only meant for the software developers, client engineers and architects. Okay, software design specification is the area defining how to build the system, rather what the system expected to do. So usually you specify the design in such a way that, so usually it is it is a question, it is an answer to the question how to build the system, right? Rather what the system expected to. Okay. So through your user requirements and system requirements, so exactly we defined what the system expected from. What are the various expectations of a user from the system? That is what. But how part is what part is there, and when you are talking about the designs specification, so usually it is a how part, okay, because how you are going to handle that system, how you are going to give a solution to that particular system, right? Now again, so these requirements are again classified into two categories. One is a functional, the other one is non-functional requirement. So what is a functional requirement? So statements of services the system should provide, how the system should react to a particular input, and how the system should behave in a particular situation, right? So usually, a functional requirement is something, it is a description about the services, okay, or the functions that particular software is provides to the customer, okay. So now you can think of, so a function means something, so it takes some input and then carry certain processing and then it gives output, right? So if you talk about any mathematical function, so usually that takes a input, and that input is processed, and then after processing, so it gives you an output, right? So similarly here is also, if these sort of things are really there, so that is a functional requirement, right? So now let's say we take an example. So you try to, open a file. Okay, the software should provide a means to open a file. Okay, this may be one functional requirement, because so it takes a file name. Okay, it takes a file name, okay, as a input. Okay, and then it does some processing, and then the file will be opened for you. Okay, so that file view of that particular file is the output, right? So input is a file name, so output is a opened file. Okay, so that is, so this means this is a functional requirement. So this is one services, okay, provided by the system. Now along with these sort of reactions, so you can see, if something when some when the file is opened, let's say you see how this particular service is going to behave. Let's say you are going to open a file, and now this file is not, it doesn't exist. This file is not there in the system. So in that case, how the system is going to react? Okay, that should also be handled. Okay, not only it is giving you the output, but also it should react to the situation where the file doesn't exist. If the file exists, then usually it will open up the file and give it to you through a viewer, right? If the file is not existing, then in that case also it should say something, right? Maybe it will say the file doesn't exist. Okay, the file name that you have given, so is not there in the disk. So this sort of some information may be going to give. So that means how the software is going to behave when you give some sort of input. Okay, so these sort of requirements are categorized under functional requirements. Okay, wherever you think that you need going to give a input, so and it is good. Let's say you can think of a ATM machine. Okay, so ATM machine, part of ATM machine, so you can see, so cash withdrawal. Okay, withdrawal of a cash, withdrawing money is a withdrawal of cash is one functional requirement. Okay, so what are you going to input there? So you going to input there the amount of money that you wanted to withdraw from your account. Okay, and then what is the output it is going to give you? It is going to give you some cash, 2000. Let's say you have given 2000 input, so it is going to give you 2000 rupees. So these sort of things. So they are the functional requirement, and there is a non-functional requirement. Okay, so the constraints on the services and the functions offered by the system, such as timing constraints. Let's say something you can think of, something, some functionalities which are not comes under functional requirement, they usually get classified under non-functional requirements. Okay, maybe you think an example of something like this, timing constraints. Okay, so you can think of like this. So you have inserted your ATM pin. Okay, so you have inserted your debit card into the ATM machine, right? And then you inserted your pin code, and also you opted for the cash withdrawal, right? Now, so that cash withdrawal should not take, I mean, by the time you entered the money and by the time going to get the cash, if it takes at least 5 minutes, what will happen? What will happen? So you inserted a money, I mean, you have validated your debit card by giving your PIN code and everything, right? You have given the amount also, but the ATM machine is showing that it is processing, okay, and it is not giving you money. What you will do? Anyone? Yes. So sometimes you feel bored. Maybe you think that the system is very slow, or sometimes you will think that maybe the system is not working. As a result, what you will do? You will try something different, right? You try to cancel the transaction again. You try to enter or something. Some buttons will be pressed. The illiterate people who going into the ATM machine sometimes when they don't get money quickly, so they feel that something is going wrong. As a result, they keep on pushing many number of buttons. They try various things, right? So as a result, what will happen? So that will be cancelled or something like that, right? Maybe it is going to give you some unexpected behavior, right? So now this sort of things. So timing constraints, that means performance. So performance related sort of things, right? Or you can have something like this. This software should be, maybe it is all it should follow some sort of standards. Okay, it should meet some standards. Okay, so whatever the software that you are whatever the services the function is going to give, so they meet some sort of standards. That means, let's say you can think of something like this, OTP. Okay, OTP. So OTP usually comes to your mobile whenever you are making any transactions, right? Now there is a standard. Okay, so OTP should be, that OTP should be used within 2 minutes. Okay, or within 3 minutes. So there is some sort of standard. Okay, followed by any sort of organization, right? So these sort of things, right? So maybe if at all any standards are there, so you need to monitor, that should be provided. So these sort of things should be categorized. These sort of requirements should be categorized under non-functional requirements. Okay. Now, so we'll see about the functional requirement in little detail, okay, through an example also. So usually it is the functionality or the system services. So you can understand these are the requirements, right? So, and these requirements actually depends upon, what type of software we are going to develop and what sort of users are going to use this. Okay, and what type of system this is, where this software is used. Okay, so because the requirements are accordingly different, right? If it is a banking, so maybe if it is a banking kind of software, right, maybe it is a whether it is a standalone application or it is a distributed application. So in case of banking, so it is a distributed sort of application. The software type is distributed, right? And what sort of users they are going to use, right? So whether it's only the people with a banking domain are going to use, or the people without banking domain are also going to use. So what sort of users are actually going to use that particular software, right? And type of system, right? I mean, where this is being used. Okay, whether it is in, the application domain area. So as I told you, banking, so it is the software will be used maybe in the banks, okay, or the software will be used outside the banks. Maybe in case of ATM, so it is the software will be installed in the ATM machine, and then the customers of the bank is going to use that particular software, right? So like this. Okay, so the functional user requirements may be high level statement of what system should do, but functional system requirements should describe the system services in detail. So here also again you can see the functional user requirements as well as functional system requirements. So at the very beginning we have classified the requirements into user requirements, system requirements, right? And then you have a functional user requirements. Similarly, you have a functional system requirements also. Like non-functional user requirements, you can have non-functional system requirement. I mean, you can do like this. Okay. So now we can see this example. Let's say there is a library system. Let's say these set of statements are there for as a requirement. A library system that provides a single interface to a number of databases of articles in different libraries. Okay, so there is a library system. Okay, through which you can access, I mean, you can search, download and print some of these articles. These articles are available in various databases of articles in different libraries. So let's say there are 3-4 libraries are there, and these they have their own databases, and these articles are available in those databases. Now from the Libsys, so you able to try to search or download or print an article, right? So this can be a system example. Okay, I mean, this is what exactly a system. So for which we will see that how this functional requirements and how this non-functional requirement can be of. Okay, so now the user shall be able to search either all of the initial set of databases or a subset of databases from the system. Okay, so now one requirement can be, the functional requirement here can be, so the user can choose 1 or 2 databases, or he can use all of the databases, okay, to search the document, okay, or the book or an article. Okay, so this is what. So here searching an article from various databases, so is one functional requirement, because you search article, that means you giving as a input the article name, maybe the article title, okay, or relevant name of the article, okay, and then it will actually searches in the database, and wherever it finds wherever it is found, so now that article will be given to you, telling that in this particular library this is available and you can download. So this sort of thing, right? The system shall provide appropriate viewers for the user to read documents in the document store. Okay, so when the user actually searched an article, and so they try to access that particular article, right? So in that case, what will happen? Let's say if it is a PDF format, the data is provided, the article is in PDF format. So then it should be so there should be a appropriate viewers through which you should be able to view the document. Now the word here is appropriate viewers. So you remember this word. So it has some meaning in the next. Okay. So now every word order shall be allocated a unique identifier. Like the user whenever orders for a particular article, okay, so he will be given a unique order ID, okay, and that will be linked to his account. Okay, that will be linked to his account. Now there are some requirements in precision. Okay, so there are requirement problems. Okay, so what are those problems? We'll talk about. Problems arise when requirements are not precisely stated. Okay, so if the requirement is not precisely stated, then the problems are there. Okay, so now you can see here. So I mean, there are certain number of ambiguity. I mean, ambiguous requirements may be interpreted in a different way by developers as well as users, right? So that ambiguity, I mean, the requirement is written in such a way that it leaves multiple interpretations, right? If it has a multiple interpretation, what will happen? So different people will treat in a different way. The user will think that he is going to get this sort of facility, but the developer taking the other interpretation and developing something else which is not useful for the current user. Now you can think of, so in the previous statement, as I said you, so the statement says something like this. Okay, so provide appropriate viewers. Okay, appropriate viewers. Okay, so now this term, if you see this word, right, appropriate viewers, so that means it leaves some sort of ambiguity. Okay, so it is not clear. Okay, the requirement is not clearly specified. I mean, user intention is what? Special purpose viewer for each different document type. If it is a PDF, so automatically it should come according to Acrobat Reader. If it is a text file, TXT file, it should open through using a notepad. If it is a doc file, so it should open using a Microsoft Word. This is what user wants. That is what the appropriate viewers it is written, right? But now the developer interpretation is what? Provide a text viewer that shows the content of the documents. Okay. So developer will think that appropriate viewers means, so somehow the content should be the whatever the contents of the documents are there, that should be provided to the user in a test format. Okay, so the test format should be there, right? But whether it is a PDF test or it is a doc test or it is a notepad test, this is not mentioned, right? So developer can go with any sort of interpretation. That is what I am saying to you. So always the requirement should be specified very precisely. Okay, and it should not leave any multiple interpretations. That is what. So that is the requirement imprecision. Okay, so that is a problem. Now the other thing here is, in principle, requirement should be both complete and consistent. Okay, so the requirement should be very complete. Okay, so I mean, when you say complete, that means no requirement should be missed out. Okay, so every requirement should be specified exactly. Okay, so specifying the requirement that what the system exactly do, and it should also specify along the same line what the system is not going to do. Okay, I mean, you can write this also, right?
हेलो
रजत भाई यहाँ भी नहीं आ रहे हो
Sir left, I think.
maybe call dropped because he should have he stays till the end.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, bro.
Hello, everyone. Actually, in the institution, there's a network issue. That's why I got disconnected from the class. So, Sat told me that wait for 5 minutes or 2 or 5 minutes for downloading attendance sheet. Okay.
Okay, so we have to wait while he's downloading
Five,
attendance.
5 or 7 minutes. Otherwise, the class will be suspended. Okay.
Okay, so sir told
Wait
you this.
for, wait for actually, I called her side.
Okay, okay,
Just wait for 5 or 7 minutes. Okay.
okay.
Students, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes,
Acha,
sir,
it is
now we
a
can.
internet problem, so somehow it got disconnected. Okay. Acha, so after this lecture, you have any other lecture?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Data
What time
structure.
you have?
1.
1 o'clock, right? So fine. So I can extend for 5 more minutes, huh? Because then we can stop. Now let me share my slide again, okay? So we were at this point, right? So the requirement should be very complete. That means what facilities or the services that are expected from the system should be specified. No requirement should be mentioned out. And there is a consistent, there should be no conflicts or contradictions in the description of the system facilities, right? While you providing the description of all these facilities or the services or the requirements, right? So at one point of time, it is saying something, the other point of time, it should saying something else. So it should not happen. So it should be very consistent. Whatever you saying, so that should be very consistent throughout the document. That is what. So it should not leave. It should not be. It should not be inconsistent. Okay. I mean, it should be consistent always. So in practice, it is impossible to produce a complete and consistent requirement. So usually we say that it is very difficult to come up with a complete and consistent document, right? So now the non-functional requirements part. So usually these requirements, they actually define the system properties and constraints. They are also providing some of this, they have some constraints as well as whatever the properties of the system. Okay, maybe in terms of reliability, maybe in terms of response time, as I told you before, right? So it is a some sort of non-functional attribute of the system. Okay, so I mean, let's say if you talk about the ATM system again, so in that case, what will happen? So there is a response time, right? So within 2 or 3 minutes, so system should be should respond to you to the system should respond to the user within 2 or 3 minutes, right? So this way, so there is a response time, right? Or maybe you can say the performance can be like this. So the system that you developed so should be able to handle these many number of users at a time.
Of calming swig of coffee out of a pure gold thermos funded entirely by Ultimate Team Points, but that might just be me. Yes, as its EA Sports stablemate was once again pilloried for a paucity of updates to franchise mode, to the point where its team had to hurry to promise to actually make some updates during the course of the year, FIFA had already made a quiet song and dance about its equivalent career mode, pointing to new tactical view sim matches, player development decisions, a new match sharpness attribute, and more. It's a good look, for sure, but having played for a few hours with a beta version of the game, I'm not entirely convinced it's the overhaul fans have been waiting for.
Okay, I have muted Sreyan, so he is playing something else. Okay, right. So there is a something like storage requirements or this sort of thing. So all those things will be categorized under non-functional. I mean, let's say the application or the software you developed should not take more than 1 GB of data or more than 500 MB of data. Okay. Or it should not fail at all. So always the reliability should be very high. Okay, the response time should be like this, or maybe you can see the performance should be like this. So the system should be able to handle 1,000 users at a time. Okay, so these are actually it is also a requirement, but it is non-functional. Okay, it is non-functional. It is all about the system properties. Okay. So where you cannot give any input to the system. Okay, so functional means where you can give some input, you get some output. But here, so you are not going to give any input, right? So that means there's a performance you are going to see, right? Now you can. The other thing is process requirements may also be specified, mandating a particular case system, programming language, or development method. Okay. So you can see, so the other requirements related to process models may be you specifying that you need to have this programming language, you need to have this sort of development methodology, and maybe you need to have use some sort of case tool, right? So those things will also be under non-functional requirement, as I told you before. So the other than the functional requirements can be classified under non-functional requirement. Okay, non-functional requirement may be more critical than the functional requirement if these are not met and the system is useless. As I told you, right? If you take an example of a trading system also, right? Where every moment, every milliseconds, you need to know what is the current trade. Okay, so then only you will be in the share market. So when you are going through going purchasing the share or selling the share, so you need to know every point of time what is the current business, right? So there you need to know what is the value of a particular share, right? Every second, right? So there the system should be the response time should be very fast. Okay. If the system is delayed by 5 to 10 seconds, what will happen? So you will not be able to trade the business, right? So that is what. So wherever the time critical when the system is very time critical, in that case those sort of in that case sometimes these non-functional requirements are very critical again. So now these non-functional requirements can further again be classified into product requirement, organizational requirements, and external requirements. So now the product requirements are something, as I said you, so it is execution speed or reliability. So they are all specific to the product. Okay, right. So that means, as I told you, so number of transactions should be handled by the system at a time. should be this much. Okay, so or it should handle these many number of users at a time. Okay, so that is what exactly a product, product requirements, non-functional product requirements. Okay, and the organizational requirements are something like this, right? So you should be avoiding certain number of policies, procedures, or you should be, the requirement is met in such a way that, so the requirement is met, this sort of non-functional requirement is met only when it follows some sort of standards. Okay, so maybe the implementation follows some standards, right? Maybe the implementation is done according to ISO standards, right? So these sort of things, right? They are going to meet some sort of standards, right? Or within the organization you have some sort of guidelines, right? Whether you meeting those guidelines or not, while the software is meeting those guidelines or not, right? So that way. Now there is something called no, to understand this, or this sort of, I can give you another example. So you can before that you will after this external requirement, I will come to that example, right? So the requirements which arise from factors which are external to the system and its development process. Example, interoperability of requirements, legislative requirements. You following, conforming to certain standards, guidelines, rules. Let's say you take in case of military applications. So maybe other than this is something like quality guidelines. So external requirements or something like this. Let's say, for example, you can think of, let's say you going to develop a software. You're going to develop a hardware which can transmit the data wirelessly to a distant location. Okay, so maybe to a receiver, right? Now the system, so wireless medium, when you are using a wireless medium, in that case what will happen? So you will be using a frequency or a spectrum, right? Now if that so there are certain kinds of frequencies again. Okay, there are several categories of frequencies. Maybe there is a licensed version, there is a non-licensed version. Some of this frequency spectrum are available freely, some are licensed ones, right? You need to buy from the TRAI. That's the way that, right? Now if I say something like this, you applying a frequency, that means that frequency, let's say you develop the software and using a 2.4 gigahertz frequency, right? Now this is a freely available frequency band, ISM band. Okay, now this is the band is freely available. Now you can use for your purpose, right? Now if you are doing something commercial, you are doing something commercial purposes, in that case you should have to buy a spectrum which cannot be operated on this freely available spectrums, right? In that case, so you should be following some guidelines of the government of India, right? So whatever the TRAI provides you guidelines regarding use of those frequencies, so you have to follow. Otherwise, so that means these sort of requirements are the very external requirements. Okay. Maybe you going to interoperate the software developed with the other softwares, right? So in that case, so you should meet all the external requirements. Okay, whatever the required, right? So now it is something, so they will be classified under non-functional classification. Now the examples for non-functional requirements can be like this. Okay, as we were discussing about the LibSys system, right? So you can see the product requirement here can be, the first one can be the user interface for the LibSys shall be implemented using HTML without frames or Java applets. So that means the user interface, whatever we are going to use, so that should use a HTML. It should not use frames or the Java applets. Okay. Now this is one sort of product requirement. Okay, and it is also a non-functional requirement, right? Now what should be organizational requirement then in that case? Okay, so whatever the deliverables or the documents that coming from this particular documents, whatever created the documents by this particular development, so that should be defined using some sort of standard. So that means that document should have followed some sort of standards. That means the process should have followed a ISO standard, right? Or when you followed when the process is followed a standard, so similarly the document is also followed, right? Now the external requirement is something like that. The system shall not disclose any personal information about customer from the name and the reference number to the operators of the system. Okay, so now the external requirement is something like, as I told you, this can be another example, right? So there is a system, you developed a software, right? And so while you going to use that particular system, you have given your name and other details, right? Now, so maybe one reference number may be generated by the system for the particular user, okay? But your the name should not be disclosed to anyone. Only what will be disclosed to the operator? It should be the reference number. That means you will be referred by a reference number only, okay? But your name and other personal details will not be disclosed outside. Okay, nobody is going to know about your details. Personal information of the customer is not given to anyone. Okay, only given to the outside world is a reference number, maybe. Okay, do you understand? So this is an external requirement. Okay, this is an external requirement. Okay, I think now we'll stop here. Okay, we'll continue in the next lecture. Okay. Any doubts so far, students?
Sir, hello.
Yes. Yes.
Sir, you told ellipsis when means in the previous slide using Java APIs and HTML. Shouldn't it be described in the design phase?
Yes. So I mean, you see, design specification is there. Okay, it is a design specification. Okay, it's not the actual design. So actual design will be done in the design. Okay. So there is a design specification document I talked about, right? Apart from user specification, a user requirement specification, system requirements specification. Apart from that, there is a design document specification, right? I mean, you are specifying. Okay, you are just specifying. So that is the reason why I told you. So your system requirement is very close to the design specification also, right? So I mean, it is also a requirement. So whatever the requirements are there, those things will be specified, not the solution things. Okay, the solution things will be actually coming there. Okay, because it is a requirement. Now here in this particular product, requirement is that it should be showing the information, the user interface it should use should be a HTML. It should not use frames or Java applets. So that is a requirement from the user only. I mean, from the customer side. Okay. If this is not a requirement, okay, so the data can be displayed to the user. If that is the requirement, then designer will think whether they should go with the HTML or they will go with the frames or the Java applets. That is that is the way that they will carry out during their design. But here in this case, so the requirement itself is this. So the user is saying that we want this sort of interface. Okay, that's a requirement. Okay, now so these any requirements are there that is related to the design also. So they can be part of your design specification. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Sir, when you were saying client engineers, who you were referring to?
Client engineers means, let's say, for example, you see, we NIT Rourkela is a client for some company. Okay. So maybe our software is going to be developed by the Infosys people, right? Now from our side also, we have also a different set of people working in our organization who can be part of, right? So maybe the scientific officers who are there in our organization, they are also involved, right? So now they will be the client side engineers. Okay, not the development side engineers. So we also have some engineers, right? We going to develop, let's say the Infosys people going to develop a software for establishment section. Okay, our establishment section is there, right? Where they going to do take
Sir,
all the, yes.
Sir, but each client group of people need not have any engineers. Like suppose a standalone person means suppose a medicine shopkeeper or medicine or shop owner wants to have an software, then who will be the client engineer in that case?
Yeah, in that case, usually for small projects or something like that. So usually, as I told you before, also, right? So many things will not be there. Okay. So usually, even you do not go with a SRS also. Okay. In that case, if it is a very small software, sometimes so there. So usually, you will not have a client. Okay. Client should be a large business wherever there is a industry problem, then only usually we are talking about. So if it is a small project, in that case, user can directly give the requirements. Okay. So you no need to have any client engineers at all required. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So any more doubt? Can I stop now? So I download the your what you say attendances. Just wait for a minute.